welcome to our demonstration of the NFinity video server. Today we're going to be covering some topics of how the NFinity server can work for you and your station. The NFinity video server can be used as an on-air player, a production news player, a source switching player, a pass-through effects player, a QC player, Vink trigger receiver, and recorder. Any of these applications can be tied together in a certain server layout, which we'll describe further below here. Servers can be laid out in single fashion, or they can be used as a server stacker. So you can add servers to account for however many players and or recorders you need. A single server can be set up in a 2-channel or 4-channel layout. NFinity can be set up as a 4 output, 3 out, 1 in, or 2 out and 1 in, depending on which channels are configured as players or recorders. In a 2-channel layout, NFinity can be set up as a 2 out, 1 in, 1 out, or 2 input. And in a special UHD configuration, the NFinity server can be configured to allow 1 input and or 1 output. In some cases bidirectional, 1 in and 1 out. Servers can be stacked to allow expandability. In this case we've got 3 servers, each with a different playout and recording configuration. In the example we've got a total of 7 players, 3 recorders, in a total of 10 channel configuration, which would be an NFinity 4, an NFinity 4, and NFinity 2 server stacked configuration. NFinity can be set to store media content, and that is handled through our media RAID management. Servers can be set to have a basic storage of 7.2 terabytes each, or 8 terabytes general storage per server. This can be upgraded to 24 terabytes per server, and in some cases with a drive size increase, a total storage capacity of up to 36 terabytes total storage per server. Not only can local storage be increased per server, but stacked NFinity servers can also gain access to each other's network storage to allow for expanded media storage and playout. Servers can also be configured in a mirror situation, so media that is delivered or recorded or otherwise stored on a primary server can also be backed up to a secondary server for total mirroring and backup capability. In a more than 2 server configuration, we can also have shared storage or mirrored storage across 3 servers. We do this by handling storage from one server to the next in what we call a round-robin fashion, where server C gets mirrored to server A gets mirrored to server B, and server B gets mirrored to server C, so that all content is redundant and backed up. We also have a central storage solution where we sell a larger storage NAS server that handles the primary storage for all recording and playout capabilities. That content can then be mirrored to the stacked server configuration, whereas a portion of the storage can be mirrored to each server equally. The mirrored media on each of these servers can be set up to allow the players on each server to play that backup media. So in the case that one server is put out of commission, the backup players still have the capability to play media from their backup locations. The NFinity server can play a wide variety of video file formats, as long as the content meets certain standards of your NTSC or PAL environment. Otherwise, video file transcoding and audio noise correction is also possible. The NFinity server can be set up with FTP media transfers, allowing a secure connection from external systems to deliver file-based content. The NFinity server also supports basic SMB protocol. Each of the NFinity players can be set up to a specific video format or output format. Depending on each of the players' configured format, the files or media that are played out of each player can be up converted, down converted, or cross converted on the fly. NFinity players can be set up and normally do play closed caption data in a 608 and 708 configuration. Certain recorders or inputs can also be set up to receive SCSI 104 and or SCSI 35 triggers. Players can also be configured to output or allow SCSI 104 and SCSI 35 triggers on the output. NFinity recorders can be set up to play out while they're recording. So as a file is recording on a recorder, other players in the server configuration can also play that content as it is being recorded. Recorders can be wired with an E2E output for signal verification during recording. Players and recorders can be set up in a local control mode or remote VDCP mode in cases where external automation is necessary to control recorders and players. There is some GPIO functionality included, such as allowing relays to trigger a downstream device from any player that might receive a Vink trigger. The NFinity server can be set to sync to time. Usually that is handled through NTP service. The NFinity server also has a virtual ACP segmenting mode where long-form content can be segmented on the fly and virtual names can be created for each segment. This also includes recorders that can auto-segment as a recording is in progress. NFinity players can be set to allow channel branding. This can be automatic or manually inserted through an automation system or manually triggered right from a player. Players can also be set with other graphics effects and fades. The NFinity server it comes in a 3RU rack configuration per server. Storage on each NFinity server comes in a front drive bay access. Normally 4 drive bays are allocated. The server can be expanded up to 8 total drive slots for expanded storage. The NFinity server comes with double or redundant power supply connections, basic motherboard connections, and peripheral card or PCIe card. The NFinity video server is currently installed in a Windows 10 Pro environment, but is qualified up to Windows 11. The server is set to allow auto login, so anytime the server reboots, it will always log into its operating system. Players and recorders and other NFinity applications can be easily closed and restarted with basic Windows functions. The RAID storage on each NFinity server is set up using Mega RAID Storage Manager. This allows easy creation and management of the RAID 5, in some cases RAID 6 storage configurations. The software on an inversion server includes the following. We have our Cloud Reader server and client applications. These allow easy management of a media database and allow connected clients to receive updates for content as it is added, deleted, or modified. There's also a RAID N application. Cloud Reader server and Cloud Reader client applications. These are the applications that manage the media content on each NFinity server in a single or stacked configuration. Any connected clients are given updates to the deletion, addition, and modification of media files. Our RAID N software allows an FTP server access point, allowing external systems to deliver media files via FTP. RAID N also is the tool that allows for media mirroring from one server to the next. This application allows us to provide an FTP server connection for external systems to deliver media content. RAID N also allows for media mirroring from one server to the next. The NFinity players and recorders are laid out in a horizontal GUI fashion. We can see in this configuration we have 3 players and 1 recorder. Players normally have 2 preview windows. One is for queued media and the other is for playing media. Some basic controls allow you to easily select media from a drop-down list and play at certain endpoints if needed. Effects can be added onto playing media. To the right of our preview and playing windows, we also have a preview of caption data if it exists in playing media. We also have an audio preview showing PCM levels 1 through 8, and in certain configurations up to 16 channels. Effects can be overlaid with easy radio buttons. These are pre-configured per system and allow you to add a quick bug, in some cases squeeze. This is a standard commercial squeeze configuration where credits will be squeezed off to the right. A commercial or promo can be added to the primary video area, and a lower third banner can squeeze up from the bottom. Similar to a squeeze, we also provide a lower third graphic that can simply squeeze the video from the bottom, allowing a lower third graphic. In some cases, lower third video. We've got some animated capability where an animated GIF or PNG can be included. You can include crawls where extra information needs to be displayed to the viewing audience. This does also include an interface to EAS systems such as DASDEC. Other text overlays can be included, including a timecode overlay, and many different varieties of text overlays, including size, positioning, and color overlays. Lower third animated graphics can also be included. This is similar to the animated GIF or animated PNG overlay. A banner or bulletin board effect can allow a music video to be playing in the background, or a music file with still image bulletin boards overlaying as the video aspect or video overlay. This allows for filling of timing when for times when programming playout is not available or not scheduled. A bulletin board can be set to simply loop the information in the bulletin boards in a looping fashion. Players can also be configured for local METAR sites to allow time and temperature graphics overlays. This information would be supplied over a commercial that might purchase a time and temp slot. The time is always up to date with NTP time sync, and the temperature is always kept up to date by accessing local METAR sites and keeping those values updated. In some cases, automation can provide information in upcoming events or schedules to allow an up next list of information, including programs that are upcoming. NFinity players can also be set in a source switch mode. This allows for an input on the same channel as the player's output to be included for extra source switching capabilities. This allows a network or studio feed to be fed in through the player, which can allow that to be switched in conjunction with or in sequence to playing media. Regarding automation control, the NFinity server does come with local automation. This is free playlist, recording, and record list software that allows the NFinity user to provide their own scheduled programming if needed. Players can also be set to be controlled through an external automation system via VDCP serial or VDCP IP control. The local NFinity Play software can be designed to interact with a single player, and if source switch is purchased, allows control of the source switch. Events can be set up in certain start modes, including absolute or time of day, also known as clock starts, follow events, which are sequential based on duration and time of next event, manual start mode, which requires operator intervention to play the event when the time is ready. Note lines can simply set an event to be ignored or to provide additional information for programming. External events allow for an external trigger, such as a relay or Vink trigger, to cause an event to roll. Schedules can be loaded each day of the week in a log 1, log 2 fashion, where log 1 plays the current day's log, and if log 2 is loaded, it will load into log 1 position once the current log has finished playing for the day. Users will have the ability to load logs continually on a day-by-day basis. If a single log is loaded, this can be set to loop mode, where it will loop back to itself at the end of its playout day. The NFinity Time Record Scheduler can be set to add events in a 7-day cycle, Sunday through Saturday, and can be configured to record to up to 2 recorders per server. NFinity Record application allows for manual creation of recordings and is as simple as choosing the video player, entering a clip name. This will be the recorded file name that is stored on the NFinity server, and then giving the recording a duration and clicking the record button. As an added license, the NFinity server can also interface to the NFinity View software. This gives users the ability to play and QC content, as well as giving them the ability to trim and segment content in an automated environment. NFinity View has access to the same content list as the NFinity players. Playing media is not guided through an SDI output, but is merely accessible through the media network. This frees up a player in a server configuration and does not require the user to dedicate a player as a QC player. Description and ISKI information can be included in an automated environment. Simple automation list is also provided, which allows users to filter based on a filter string to redraw a list of content that applies to the filter string. The first toggle button down below allows users to toggle back and forth between segmenting mode and trimming mode. Trimming mode allows for the easy trimming of the front and end of a piece of media. Segmenting mode allows users to create multiple segment points within a single piece of media. As is shown in the example here, the 11 p.m. Wednesday news has been given 11 segments. These segments can be located by clicking the timeline bar at the top of the software here. And transport controls allow for easy play out, play backwards, shuttle forwards, shuttle backwards, and frame by frame jogging. Trim points and segment points can be easily found manually this way. There is also another way to find segments automatically. Using the Find Black window, we can choose the currently loaded media or any other piece of media in the list. If that media has various points of black audio or otherwise a lack of audio in between segments, this allows the NFinity View software to find points for segmenting. Clicking the Find Black button, NFinity View will analyze this piece of media and quickly list multiple points of segmenting. If we click Segment and Load, this has now distributed those segments accordingly. If we click on the blue bar here, we can see that that is quite frame accurate. In an automated environment, the Delete window can also allow for easy deletion of content using a similar query search string. You can search for media that you want to delete. The software does only allow 20 deletes at a time. Otherwise, the NFinity software can also work with a traffic systems purge list, which can actually support more than 20 deletions at a time. NFinity View can also be set to access multiple pull sources to acquire media from various sources on a station's network. NFinity View can also be set to create new copies or new files of media based on trimming information or segmenting information. That concludes our presentation of the NFinity server and NFinity software. Thank you.